How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances that took place yesterday on Tuesday, September 28th. And for today's episode, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today, taking a look at where we are in the season, just to take you in order of what we're going to go down. The WNBA semifinals started yesterday, so of course I'm going to get into the first games of that. The MLB regular season is coming to a close, and football all around the world is just getting underway as the NFL and the college football season are still within their first months. And the second matchup of the Champions League group stage has also been started. So that's about where we are. The NBA season is less than a month away, and the NHL season has already started, just to get a sense of everything that's going on within sports right now. And without further ado, I'm going to get started with the WNBA playoffs semifinals. In the first round matchups that took place yesterday, in game one, or just first looking at the matchups that took place. In game one, the first seed Connecticut Sun hosted the sixth seed Chicago Sky. And in game one, the Sky would end up beating the Sun 101-95 in a game that went to 2 overtimes. And like I said, they would end up outscoring the Sun 17-11 in both overtime periods in order to take this 1-0 series. And unlike the other two rounds, this is not a single elimination. For the first seed Connecticut Sun, they were led in scoring by their forward, Jonquel Jones, who was the MVP of the season. Jonquel Jones had 26 points and 11 rebounds, as well as 2 blocks in 45 minutes, as she shot 10 for 21 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting center, Brianna Jones, out of Connecticut, would end up with 22 points, and she had 10 rebounds along with 4 steals on the night. Those are the two players for Connecticut that would score at least 20. And then for the Chicago Sky, their leading scorer was their future Hall of Fame forward, Candace Parker. She had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a couple of steals in 39 minutes, as she shot 8 for 15 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. Their starting guard, Courtney Vandersloot, would finish with a triple-double. She had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 18 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks in 44 minutes. She would shoot 4 for 11 from the field and 4 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the 6th seed Chicago Sky now hold a 1-0 series lead in the WNBA semifinals. They are 2 wins away from earning a spot in the WNBA finals at this pace. And then going to the second game of the night, the 2nd seed Las Vegas Aces hosted the 5th seed Phoenix Mercury, and in this matchup, the 2nd seed Vegas Aces would pull off a 96-90 win. They would outscore Phoenix in the middle 2 quarters. They outscored the Mercury 31-19 in the second quarter and 24-17 in the third. They outscored them by 19 points in those middle quarters. For the Phoenix Mercury, their leading scorer was Brittany Griner out of Baylor. She finished with 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists in 36 minutes. She shot 10 for 16 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. And then their Olympic guard, Diana Taurasi, would finish with 20 points on the night. She would go on to help the Mercury pull off this very big win, especially after knocking Sue Bird out of the last round. And then looking out to how everything fared for the Las Vegas Aces in this matchup. Their leading scorer was their starting guard, Rakuna Williams. Rakuna Williams would finish with 26 points and 4 rebounds, and she would do all this in 33 minutes as she shot 8 for 14 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Off the bench, the Las Vegas Aces guard Kelsey Plum out of Washington would finish with 25 points, and she would do this in 26 minutes. She shot 8 for 17 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Las Vegas Aces, holding the 2 seed, now hold a 1-0 series lead. They are 2 wins away from the WNBA Finals. The Mercury still have to win 3 matchups. So right now, that is currently what the WNBA is looking like. Taking a very quick look at what's going on in the MLB as the season is coming to a close. Starting with the doubleheader in Queens, the New York Mets took on the Miami Marlins in a matchup that had no playoff implications. In the first game, the Mets would beat the Marlins 5-2. For the Marlins in this first game, the loss was given to their starting pitcher, Zach Thompson. Zach Thompson would go on to allow 1 earned run in the first inning as he struck out 3. With this loss, he's 2-7. In the Marlins batting lineup, their second baseman, Joe Panik, went 2 for 3. And then for the New York Mets, the win went to their starting pitcher, Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman would allow 2 earned runs in 5 innings as he struck out 4. With this loss, he's 10-13 on the season, and the save would go to the Mets closer, Edwin Diaz. He allowed no earned runs in the 7th inning, striking out 2, and with this save, he now has 31 saves on the season. In the Mets batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Francisco Lindor, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 19th home run of the season. Their elite first baseman, Pete Alonso, went 2 for 4, and their elite second baseman, Javier Baez, went 2 for 3 with a run. Following this win, the Mets were able to beat the Marlins 2-1 in Game 2. This game would end up going to 9 innings, even though it was a doubleheader game that should have gone to 7. It would be a fielder's choice from James McCann that brought Javier Baez to the plate. And then for the Miami Marlins in the second loss, the start was given to Trevor Rogers. Rogers allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings as he struck out 6. The loss was given to the Marlins closer, Anthony Bass. Bass allowed 1 earned run as he pitched .1 inning, not being able to finish the 9th inning. And with this loss, he's 3-9 on the year. In the Marlins batting lineup, the only player that had more than 1 hit was their third baseman, Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez went 2 for 3. For the Mets in Game 2, the start was given to Noah Syndergaard. He would only pitch the first inning. He would strike out 2 batters in that inning, not allowing a single run. The win would go to the Mets closer, Brad Hand. Hand allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. With his win, Brad Hand is 6-7. In the Mets batting lineup, their third baseman, Jonathan Villar, will go 2 for 3 with a run. He was the only player with more than 1 hit in Game 2. With this win, the New York Mets are now 75-82. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 3 of their last 10. They trail the Atlanta Braves by 9.5 games in the division, and they are one of 9 teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention in the National League at the moment. With these losses, the Miami Marlins are 64-93. That is the worst record in the National League East. They've lost their last 7 games. They are tied with the Chicago Cubs for the longest losing streak in baseball at the moment. They've lost 8 of their last 10. They trailed the division-leading Atlanta Braves by 20.5 games in the division. And alongside the Mets, the Marlins are one of the 9 teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention in the National League. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the Chicago Cubs, as these were 2 more teams in the National League that have been eliminated from playoff contention. But the Pirates would end up beating the Cubs 8-6. The Pirates would enter the bottom of the 6th trailing 6-3. They would end up scoring it off of a 2-run triple from Hoyt Park in the bottom of the 6th, and they took the lead off of a RBI single from Michael Chavis. For the Chicago Cubs in this matchup, the start was given to Alec Mills. He allowed 6 runs in 5 innings, striking out 4. The loss was given to the Cubs' first relief pitcher, Adam Morgan. Morgan allowed 1 earned run in .2 innings pitched. He would strike out 1 as he was pulled in the 6th inning. He would pick up his second blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's 1-1. In the Cubs batting lineup, their first baseman, Frank Schwindel, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their third baseman, Matt Duffy, went 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their right fielder, Nick Martini, would end up going 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And then their catcher, Austin Romine, went 2 for 4 with a run. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, the start was given to Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller would allow 6 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win would go to the Pirates' second relief pitcher, Enyel de los Santos. Enyel de los Santos would allow no earned runs in the sixth inning. With this win, he's 2-1. The save was given to the Pirates' closer, Chris Stratton. Stratton allowed no earned runs in the ninth inning as he picked up his seventh save of the year. In the Pirates' batting lineup, their center fielder, Brian Reynolds, went 3-for-4 with 3 runs. Their first baseman, Colin Moran, would go 2-for-2 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. His 10th home run was the only home run of the game. Their catcher, Jacob Stallings, would go 2-for-4 with a run. And with this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 59-98. That is the worst record in the National League Central. They've won 4 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 35 games in the division. They are one of 9 teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention as well. Sitting alongside the Chicago Cubs, who are holding the 4th best record in the National League Central. With this loss, they've lost their last 7. They are tied with the Miami Marlins for the worst losing streak in baseball right now. They've lost 9 of their last 10 games, and they trail the Milwaukee Brewers, the NL Central champs, by 27 games in the division, just to give a sense of where the Cubs sit. And they are one of the 9 teams that have been eliminated from playoff contention in the National League. Jumping out to Baltimore, the Baltimore Orioles hosted the Boston Red Sox, and the Orioles were able to beat the Red Sox to make sure that coming into today, the Orioles did not have the worst record in baseball. The Orioles did enter the bottom of the 6th trailing 2-0. They would tie the game off of a 2-run home run from Ryan Mountcastle and take the lead off of an RBI single from Pedro Severino in the same inning. For the Boston Red Sox in this matchup, the loss would go to their elite starting pitcher, Chris Sale. Sale allowed 3 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 before getting pulled in the 6th inning for not being able to make it through. With this loss, Chris Sale is 5-1 on the season. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their right fielder, Hunter Renfroe, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 29th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Kyle Schwarber, will be the only other player on the Red Sox with a hit. He went 1-for-2 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 32nd home run of the year. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start was given to Bruce Zimmerman. Bruce Zimmerman allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits and 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win was given to the Orioles' first relief pitcher, Marcos Diplan. Diplan would allow 1 earned run in the 5th and 6th innings as he struck out 3 in those 2 innings. With this win, he's now 2-0 on the season, and the save would go to the Orioles' closer, Cole Sulser. Sulser allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning. He picked up his 8th save of the year. In the Orioles batting lineup, their designated hitter, Trey Mancini, would go 2-for-4 with a run. Their first baseman, Ryan Mountcastle, went 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 32nd home run of the year. And their catcher, Pedro Severino, would go 3-for-4. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are 51-106. That is the worst record in the American League East and the worst record in the American League. They've won 4 of their last 10 games as they trail the AL East champs Tampa Bay Rays by 46 games in the division. That is also the best record. That is the gap between the best and worst teams in the American League. The Orioles are one of 7 teams in the American League that have been eliminated from playoff contention as they sit alongside the Texas Rangers, the Minnesota Twins, the Kansas City Royals, the Los Angeles Angels, the Detroit Tigers, and the Cleveland Indians. With this loss, the Boston Red Sox are 88-69. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East as they've lost their last 4 games. They've lost 4 of their last 10 as they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 9 games in the division. Their 4-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the American League. Right now, they are sitting in that second American League wildcard spot, sitting 2 games behind the New York Yankees, who are sitting in that first spot, and they're sitting half a game ahead of the Seattle Mariners, who are sitting in the first spot of the outside looking in. With this that's where the Red Sox sit, just to show how close everything is. Jumping up north of the U.S.-Canadian border, the Toronto Blue Jays hosted the New York Yankees. The Yankees would end up beating the Blue Jays 7-2. The Blue Jays did lead 2-1 at one point. The Yankees would end up they would tie it off of an RBI single from Anthony Rizzo. And then Aaron Judge's sacrifice fly would give the Yankees the win. And then Giancarlo's 3-run home run in the 7th inning would break their lead wide open. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the loss would go to their elite starting pitcher, Hyunjin Ryu. He would allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings as he would strike out 3 before getting pulled in the 5th. With this loss, he's 13-10 on the season. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their all-star shortstop, Bo Bichette, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He was the only player on the Blue Jays with more than 1 hit. For the New York Yankees, the start was given to Jameson Taillon. He allowed 1 earned run in 2.1 innings as he would strike out 2 in that span. The win would go to the Yankees' first relief pitcher, Michael King, as he would be pulled after the 5th inning. With this he would allow 1 earned run in 2.2 innings as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's now 1-4. In the Yankees batting lineup, their first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their elite right fielder, Aaron Judge, would go 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 37th home run of the season. Their elite designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 35th home run of the year. Their shortstop, Gio Urshela, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 14th home run. With this win, the New York Yankees are 90-67. That is the second best record in the American League East. They've won their last 7 games. That is the longest active winning streak in the American League. They have the second longest winning streak to the St. Louis Cardinals in baseball right now. They've won 8 of their last 10 games as they trail the AL champs, Tampa Bay Rays, by 7 games in the division. And right now they're holding on to that first American League wildcard spot, sitting 2 games ahead of the second place Boston Red Sox. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are 87-70. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games as they trail the AL East champs, Tampa Bay Rays, by 10 games in the division. They currently trail the Boston Red Sox by a game for that second American League wildcard spot. The Blue Jays are sitting in the second spot on the outside looking in as they currently trail the Seattle Mariners by half a game in the wildcard race as well. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves took on the second best team in the NL East, the Philadelphia Phillies, and in a game that was a must-win for both teams. The Braves would beat the Phillies 2-1 as both of their runs would come from an RBI single from Jorge Soler in the 3rd inning. For the Philadelphia Phillies, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Zach Wheeler. He allowed 2 earned runs and 4 hits in 7 innings, striking out 7. With this loss, he's 14-10. In the Phillies batting lineup, their center fielder, Odubel Herrera, would go 2 for 4. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. For the Atlanta Braves, the win would go to their starting pitcher, Charlie Morton. He allowed no earned runs and 3 hits in 7 innings as he struck out 10. With this win, he's now 14-6 on the season, and the save would go to the Braves closer, Will Smith. He would allow 1 run in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. And in the Braves batting lineup, their right fielder Jorge Soler went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. No one on the team had more than 1 hit, and now be attributed to great pitching from Philadelphia. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 84-72. That is the best record in the National League East. They've won their last 4 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10. Their 4-game winning streak is the second longest active winning streak in the National League, tied with the San Francisco Giants. The Braves have won 8 of their last 10 games, and they sit 3.5 games ahead of the second place Philadelphia Phillies in the division. And right now, they are holding on to the 3rd seed in the National League playoff picture as they trail the 1st seed San Francisco Giants, and they trail the 2nd seed Milwaukee Brewers, who have already won the National League Central. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 81-76. That is the 2nd best record in the National League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They are currently trailing the Atlanta Braves by 3.5 games in the division. They are the only team in the National League who is not in the current National League playoff picture, whose playoff hopes are still alive. They've been eliminated from playoff contention, not with the St. Louis Cardinals' 17th consecutive win, but they are only 3.5 games behind Atlanta in the division race, so that is the only way that the Phillies can make the playoffs, and they are 3.5 games behind the Braves. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Detroit Tigers, and the Twins would end up beating the Tigers 3-2. The difference in this match, or the Tigers would score 2 runs in the top of the 9th to try to even it up, but it just wouldn't be enough. For the Detroit Tigers, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Tyler Alexander. Alexander allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings as he would strike out 6. With this loss, Tyler Alexander is 2-4. In the Detroit Tigers batting lineup, their second baseman, Isaac Paredes would go 2-4. And then their left fielder, Eric Haas, would go 2-4 with a run. For the Minnesota Twins, the start was given to Charlie Barnes. Barnes allowed no earned runs and 3 hits in 4 innings. He would strike out 2 batters in that span. The win will go to the Twins' third relief pitcher, Caleb Thielbar. He allowed no earned runs in the 7th inning as he struck out 2. With this win, he's 7-0 on the season. The save will go to the Twins' closer, Alex Colome. Colome allowed 2 earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. With this save, he now has 17 on the year. In the Twins batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their designated hitter, Miguel Sano, will go 1-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 30th home run of the year. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are 70-87. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They've won 6 of their last 10 games as they trail the American League Central champs, Chicago White Sox, by 19.5 games in the division. At the moment, and with this loss, the Detroit Tigers are now 75-82. That's the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They trailed the American League Central champion Chicago White Sox by 14.5 games in the division. The Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers are 2 of 7 teams in the American League that have been eliminated from playoff contention at this point. Jumping out to St. Louis, the hottest team in baseball were able to beat the National League Central champs, Milwaukee Brewers, as the Cardinals won their 17th game in a row, beating the Brewers 6-2. The game was tied at 2 going into the bottom of the 5th. The Cardinals would break the tie off of an RBI single from Tyler O'Neill. For the Milwaukee Brewers in this matchup, the start was given to their all-star starting pitcher, Brandon Woodruff. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings, striking out 3. The loss would go to their first relief pitcher, Yandel Gustave. Yandel Gustave allowed 2 runs in the 5th inning. With this loss, he's 1-1. In the Brewers batting lineup, their shortstop, Luis Urias, went 2-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 22nd home run of the season. And their third baseman, Jace Peterson, would go 2-for-4. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the win went to their starting pitcher, Adam Wainwright. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings as he struck out 4. With this win, Adam Wainwright is 17-7 on the season for the St. Louis Cardinals. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 2-for-4 with a run. Their left fielder, Tyler O'Neill, went 2-for-4 with a run. Their elite third baseman, Nolan Arenado, would go 1-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 34th home run of the season. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 88-69. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 17 games, and on their 17th consecutive win, it would be the win that clinched the wild card spot for the St. Louis Cardinals. They currently trail the NL Central champs, Milwaukee Brewers, by 6 games in the division, and in the wild card race, they trail the LA Dodgers by 13 games for that 2nd spot. But they have they trail the Dodgers, who are sitting in that 1st spot. But the Cardinals have clinched their position, and they are going to hold on to that 2nd spot going into the playoffs, which means that in going into the single elimination wild card game, the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be the road team. With this loss, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 94-63. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games as they sit 6 games ahead of the 2nd place St. Louis Cardinals in the division. The Milwaukee Brewers have already won the NL Central. They're the only team in the National League to clinch their division. In the National League playoff picture, they are holding on to the 2nd seed at the moment as they sit behind the 1st seed San Francisco Giants, and they sit ahead of the 3rd seed Atlanta Braves for the time being. Jumping out to Dallas, the Texas Rangers hosted the Los Angeles Angels, and the Rangers would end up beating the Angels 5-2 at home. After the Angels took a 2-0 lead in the top of the 2nd, the Rangers would score 4 at the bottom of the 2nd. They would end up taking the lead off of a 2-run RBI single from Andy Ibanez after they were trailing 2-1 to go up 3-2. And then for the Los Angeles Angels in this matchup, the loss went to their starting pitcher, Packy Naughton. He allowed 4 earned runs in 2 innings, and with this loss, Naughton is 0-4. In the Angels batting lineup, their all-star first baseman Jared Walsh would go 2 for 4. For the Texas Rangers, the win would go to their starting pitcher A.J. Alexy. A.J. Alexy would allow 2 earned runs and 3 hits in 5 innings, striking out 2. With this win, he's 3-1. The save would go to the Rangers closer Joe Barlow. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, and this would be his 10th save of the year. In the Rangers batting lineup, their designated hitter Andy Ibanez would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And then their catcher Jonah Heim would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run for himself. With this win, the Texas Rangers are now 58-99. And that is the worst record in the American League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 4 of their last 10. They trail the AL West leading Houston Astros by 34 games in the division. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are 74-83. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They trailed the Houston Astros by 18 games. And following this matchup, the Los Angeles Angels and the Texas Rangers both are the 2 teams in the American League West who have been eliminated from playoff contention at this point of the season. Jumping out to Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals hosted the Cleveland Indians. And in this matchup, that of course has no playoff meaning for either team. The Royals or the Cleveland Indians would tie the game at 4 going into the bottom of the 8th inning. And then the Royals would end up taking the lead off of a Nicky Lopez RBI triple, and then a wild pitch would make their lead 6-4, which they would win the game with. For the Cleveland Indians, the start was given to Aaron Savali. He allowed 4 earned runs in 5.1 innings. He would strike out 3 batters before getting pulled in the 6th inning. The loss would go to the Indians' second relief pitcher, Blake Parker. Parker would allow 1 earned run in 1.1 innings pitched, as he would finish the 7th inning and start the 8th. With this loss, he's 2-1 on the season. In the Indians batting lineup, their elite third baseman Jose Ramirez would go 2 for 4 with a run. Their only other player with more than 1 hit was their second baseman Andres Jimenez. Jimenez went 2 for 3. And for the Kansas City Royals, the start was given to Brady Singer. He wouldn't even make it out the first inning as he allowed 3 earned runs. The win was given to the Kansas City Royals closer for the day, Josh Staumont. Staumont allowed no earned runs in 1.1 innings pitched. He would finish off the 8th and pitch the entire 9th. He would pick up his first strike, or he would pick up only 1 strikeout of the night, and with this win, he's now 4-3. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite catcher Salvador Perez would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and 3 runs. He would hit his 47th home run of the season. He was the only player on the Royals with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are now 72-85. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've won 6 of their last 10 games, as they currently trail the AL Central champs Chicago White Sox by 17.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Cleveland Indians are now 77-80. That is the 2nd best record in the American League Central. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games as they trail the AL Central champs by 12.5 games in the division. These are the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Indians are 2 of the 7 teams in the American League, including the 4 teams in the American League Central that aren't the White Sox, that have been eliminated from playoff contention. Jumping out to Houston, the Houston Astros took on the Tampa Bay Rays, the best team in the American League, and the Astros would end up beating the Rays in the bottom of the 9th. Going into the 9th inning as itself, the score was tied at 2. Randy Arozarena would hit a home run to give the Rays a 3-2 lead, and then the Houston Astros would walk twice and then off of 2 walks, the Astros would win the game, and these were 2-out walks. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how that game ended. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the start went to Michael Wacha. Wacha allowed no earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The loss for Tampa Bay would be attributed to Josh Fleming, the setup relief pitcher. He allowed 2 earned runs in .1 inning pitched. The pitcher that would actually walk the two batters would be JT Chargois. He would allow no earned runs in that span. And with those two walks, like I said, he gave up the loss, but the loss would not be attributed to him. In the Rays batting lineup, their second baseman, Brandon Lau, went 2 for 4 with a run. He was the only player on the team with more than one hit. Their elite right fielder, Randy Arozarena, will go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 20th home run of the year. For the Houston Astros, the start went to Jose Urquidy. Urquidy would allow 2 earned runs and 4 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6 on the day. The win for the Astros went to Phil Maton. Phil Maton allowed 1 earned run and 1.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, he's now 5-0. In the Astros batting lineup, nobody on the team would have more than 1 hit. Their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 31st home run of the year. Their elite third baseman, Alex Bregman, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 12th home run of the season. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 92-65. That is the best record in the American League West as they've won 5 of their last 10. They sit 4.5 games ahead of the second-place Seattle Mariners. And right now, they are sitting in that second spot in the American League playoff picture, sitting behind the first seed Tampa Bay Rays, who've won the AL East, and they sit ahead of these third seed Chicago White Sox, who have won the AL Central, despite the fact that the Astros have not yet won the AL West. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 97-60. That is still the best record in the American League. They've lost 4 of their last 10 games as they sit 7 games ahead of the second-place New York Yankees in the division. They've already clinched the title, and right now they are holding on to that number 1 seed in the American League playoff picture, as they currently sit ahead of the second-place Houston Astros by 5 games, as the Tampa Bay Rays currently have 5 games left in their season. A win here would clinch the best record in the American League. They also sit ahead of the third seed Chicago White Sox, who have already clinched the American League Central at this point of the season. Jumping out to Chicago, speaking of the White Sox, the AL Central champs were able to beat the Cincinnati Reds 7-1. For the Cincinnati Reds in this matchup, the loss was given to Riley O'Brien. Riley O'Brien allowed 2 earned runs and 1.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. In the Reds batting lineup, their elite third baseman Eugenio Suarez would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He had the team's only RBI. Like I said, he had his 30th home run of the year. For the Chicago White Sox in the matchup that eliminated the Cincinnati Reds from playoff contention, the win was given to their starting pitcher Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez allowed 1 earned run he allowed 2 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, Reynaldo Lopez is 4-3. In the White Sox batting lineup, their center fielder Luis Robert went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 11th and 12th home runs of the year. Their left fielder Eloy Jimenez went 2 for 4 with a run, and then their designated hitter Gavin Sheets would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Gavin Sheets would hit his 10th home run of the season. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 90-68. That is the best record in the American League Central. I mean, they've won the division. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They sit 12.5 games ahead of the second place Cleveland Indians, as with the division title, they are holding on to the 3rd seed in the American League playoff picture at the current moment. They are sitting behind the 1st seed Tampa Bay Rays, who have won their division, the AL East, and they are sitting behind the Houston Astros, who still have yet to win their division, the American League West. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds have now been eliminated from playoff contention. They are now 82-76. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games, and they trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 12.5 games in the division. And they are the second to last team outside of the current National League playoff picture that have been eliminated. The only team left is the Philadelphia Phillies, and they can only make it through their division. With this loss, the Reds are now the 9th team that have been eliminated from National League playoff contention, as they sit alongside the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Miami Marlins, the Washington Nationals, the Chicago Cubs, the Colorado Rockies, the New York Mets, and the San Diego Padres. Jumping out to Denver, speaking of two of the teams from the National League that have been eliminated from playoff contention, the Colorado Rockies beat the Washington Nationals 3-1. For the Nationals in this matchup, the loss went to their starting pitcher, Patrick Corbin. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings as he struck out 9. With this loss, Patrick Corbin is 9-16 in the Nationals batting lineup. Their first baseman, Ryan Zimmerman, went 2 for 4. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. For the Colorado Rockies, the win went to their starting pitcher, Kyle Freeland. He allowed 1 earned run in 6.2 innings pitched, striking out 3. With this win, he's 7-8, and the save was given to the Rockies closer, Carlos Estevez. Estevez allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he walked a batter, but that was it. With this save, Estevez now has 10 saves on the year. In the Rockies batting lineup, their elite shortstop Trevor Story would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 24th home run of the year. Their catcher Elias Diaz would go 2 for 4 as well. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 72-85. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've won 3 of their last 10 games as they trail the division-leading San Francisco Giants by 31 games in the division and for the league because they have the best record in baseball. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 65-93. That is the 4th best record in the National League East as they've lost 5 of their last 10. They trail the division-leading Atlanta Braves by 20 games, and the Nationals and the Colorado Rockies are currently 2 of the 9 teams in the National League that have been eliminated from playoff contention. Jumping up to the Bay Area, the San Francisco Giants, the best team in baseball, hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks. And with this 6-4 win, they ensured that the Diamondbacks have the sole worst record in baseball and that the Giants would have the sole best record in baseball because they still have playoff seeding to compete for. For the Arizona Diamondbacks in this matchup, the start was given to Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 4 innings as he struck out 6. The loss was given to the Diamondbacks' second relief pitcher, Sean Poppin. Poppin allowed 4 runs in .1 inning pitched. With this loss, he's 1-1. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their right fielder, Cole Calhoun, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their center fielder for the day, Jake McCarthy, would end up going 2 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. And for the San Francisco Giants, the start was given to Logan Webb. Logan Webb would allow 1 run and 4 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The win was given to the Giants' first relief pitcher, Jose Alvarez. Alvarez allowed no earned runs in the 6th inning, and with this win, he's now 5-2. The save would be given to the Giants' closer, Camilo Doval. Doval allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 103-54. That is the best record in the National League West and the best record in all of baseball. They've won their last 4 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10. Their 4-game winning streak is tied with Atlanta for the second longest winning streak in the National League. They sit 2 games ahead of the second-place LA Dodgers within their division, and they are holding on to that number 1 seed in the playoff picture. They are one of 4 teams that have clinched a playoff spot in the National League playoff picture. But in that playoff picture, they're sitting ahead of the 2nd seed Milwaukee Brewers, who have clinched their division, and they are sitting ahead of the 3rd seed Atlanta Braves, who still have yet to clinch their division. Jumping out to, with this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 50-107. That is currently the worst record in the National League West. It's the worst record in the National League, and it's the worst record in all of baseball. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They trailed the San Francisco Giants by 53 games in the division, which is also the gap between the best and worst records in baseball is 53 games. And the Arizona Diamondbacks are currently one of 9 teams in the National League that have been eliminated from playoff positioning. They sit alongside the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Miami Marlins, the Washington Nationals, the Chicago Cubs, the Colorado Rockies, the New York Mets, the San Diego Padres, and the Cincinnati Reds for the time being. The only team that's outside of the playoff picture that's still competing is the Philadelphia Phillies at the moment. Jumping out to Los Angeles, the defending World Series champs, LA Dodgers, hosted the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers were able to pull away with a slick 2-1 win at home to give Walker Buehler his 15th win of the season. For the San Diego Padres, the loss went to their elite starting pitcher, Yu Darvish. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings as he struck out 6. With this loss, Yu Darvish is 8-11. In the Padres batting lineup, their first baseman, Eric Hosmer, went 2 for 3. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. For the defending World Series champs, LA Dodgers, the win went to their elite starting pitcher, Walker Buehler. He allowed no earned runs and 3 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With his win, he's 15-4. The save was given to the Dodgers closer, Blake Treinen. Treinen allowed 1 earned run in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This would be his 7th save of the season. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their all-star second baseman, Trey Turner, went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are now 101-56. That is the second best record in the National League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They trailed the San Francisco Giants by 2 games in the division as they have clinched they are one of the 4 teams in the National League that have clinched a playoff spot this season. Right now, they are sitting in first place in the National League wild card race, sitting 13 games ahead of the second place St. Louis Cardinals. So there'll be no teams that are competing for the wild card as those teams are set, but their competition is with the San Francisco Giants for the division. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are now 78-79. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West. They've lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 9 of their last 10. They trailed the San Francisco Giants by 25 games in the division, and the Padres are one of 9 teams that have been eliminated from the National League playoff list, or from playoff contention in the National League. Last but not least, jumping out to Seattle in a series that actually carries a lot of weight, the Mariners were able to beat the Oakland Athletics to push the Athletics closer to the brink of elimination. The Mariners will pull off a 4-2 win as all the runs in this game were scored between the 4th and 7th inning, leaving the bookend innings relatively scoreless. For the Oakland Athletics in this matchup, the start was given to Chris Bassett. Bassett allowed 1 earned run in 3.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 1 batter before getting pulled in the 4th inning. The loss was given to the A's first relief pitcher, Yusmeiro Petit. He would allow 1 earned run in 0.2 innings pitched as he finished off the 4th inning. With this loss, he's 8-3. In the A's batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their second baseman, Tony Kemp. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI. For the Seattle Mariners, the start was given to Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in 4 innings as he struck out 2. The win was given to the Mariners' first relief pitcher, Anthony Misowicz. Misowicz would allow no earned runs in 0.2 innings pitched. With his win, he's now 5-5. The save would go to the Mariners' closer for the day, Drew Steckenrider. Steckenrider allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This will be his 12th save of the season. In the Mariners' batting lineup, their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, went 2 for 5. Their designated hitter, Luis Torrens, would go 3 for 4 with a run. And then their all-star right fielder, Mitch Haniger, went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 38th home run of the season. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 88-70. That is the 2nd best record in the American League West. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 9 of their last 10. They trail the Houston Astros by 4.5 games in the division, and they trail the Boston Red Sox by half a game for that 2nd American League wildcard spot. The Mariners are currently in that first position on the outside looking in. I think this is the closest that the Mariners have gotten to that wild card spot all season, and there's not a better place to be that close to the race. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 85-73. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They trail the Houston Astros by 7.5 games in the division, and at the moment, they are trailing the Boston Red Sox by 3.5 games for that 2nd American League wildcard spot, as they have 4 more games left in their season. Right now, that is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. And taking a quick look at what's going on today. Starting off at 3:10, Peter Lambert and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Paolo Espino and the Washington Nationals, as these two teams have already been eliminated from playoff contention. At 6:35, Ronzi Contreras and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Kyle Kendricks and the Chicago Cubs, as both of these teams have been eliminated from playoff contention as well. Kyle Hendricks enters this matchup with a 14-7 record, holding a 4.81 ERA. At 7 o'clock on ESPN, Jose Barrios and the Toronto Blue Jays, who are currently sitting a game outside of the American League wild card, are going to host Garrett Cole and the New York Yankees, as the Yankees are holding on to that top American League wild card spot at the moment. Garrett Cole, the elite starting pitcher for the New York Yankees, enters his matchup with a 16-8 record, holding a 3.08 ERA. Jose Barrios, the starter for the Toronto Blue Jays, is going to enter this matchup with a 12-9 record, holding a 3.48 ERA. At 7:05, Zach Lowther and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Nate Eovaldi and the Boston Red Sox. The Orioles hold the worst record in the American League, and the Red Sox are holding on to that second American League wildcard spot. This win is very important for the Red Sox. Nate Eovaldi enters his matchup with a 10-9 record, holding a 3.88 ERA. At 7:10, Taijuan Walker and the New York Mets are going to host Elieser Hernandez and the Miami Marlins, as neither of these teams are fighting for a playoff spot. At 7:20 on ESPN+, Max Fried and the Atlanta Braves are going to compete against Aaron Nola and the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies are the only team in the National League that's outside of the playoff picture that's still competing for a playoff spot. They can't compete for a wild card spot. They can only compete for the division. At the moment, the Philadelphia Phillies trail the Atlanta Braves by 3.5 games, as the Phillies have 5 more games left in their season. The Aaron Nola takes this mound with a 9-8 record, holding a 4.64 ERA. Max Fried takes this mound at home with a 13-7 record, holding a 3.12 ERA. At 7:40, Michael Pineda and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Casey Mize and the Detroit Tigers in a game where neither team is fighting for a playoff spot. Casey Mize enters his matchup with a 7-8 record, holding a 3.63 ERA. Michael Pineda enters his matchup with an 8-8 record, holding a 3.73 ERA for himself. At 7:45, Miles Michaelis and the hottest team in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals, are going to host Adrian Hauser and the NL Central champions, Milwaukee Brewers. Adrian Hauser enters his matchup with a 9-6 record, holding a 3.34 ERA, as the Brewers look to be the team that will be the team to end the longest winning streak in baseball this year, a 17-game winning streak from the St. Louis Cardinals, which is probably one of the most impressive winning streaks I've ever seen. Jumping out to 8:05, Taylor Hearn and the Texas Rangers are going to host Jansen Junk and the Los Angeles Angels, as neither of these teams are fighting for a playoff spot. At 8:10, Carlos Rodon and the AL Central champs, the Chicago White Sox, are going to host Sonny Gray and the Cincinnati Reds, as the Reds are no longer fighting for playoff contention. Sonny Gray enters his matchup with a 7-8 record, holding a 3.99 ERA. Carlos Rodon enters his matchup with the White Sox, holding a 12-5 record and a 2.47 ERA. At the same time, at 8:10, Daniel Lynch and the Kansas City Royals are going to host Zach Plesac and the Cleveland Indians, as neither the Indians nor the Royals are in contention for a playoff spot. Zach Plesac enters his matchup with a 10-6 record, holding a 4.54 ERA. At the same time, at 8:10, Luis Garcia and the Houston Astros are going to host Drew Rasmussen and the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays hold the best record in the American League, and the Astros still have yet to win their division title. Luis Garcia enters his matchup for Houston with an 11-7 record, holding a 3.23 ERA. At 9:45, the team that holds the best record in baseball, the San Francisco Giants, are going to host the team that holds the worst record in baseball in the Arizona Diamondbacks. Merrill Kelly's going to get the start for Arizona, as Alex Wood gets the start for San Francisco. Wood's going to take the mound with a 10-4 record with a 4 flat ERA. At 10 o'clock on ESPN, The defending World Series champs LA Dodgers, led by their goated starting pitcher Max Scherzer, are going to host Ryan Weathers and the San Diego Padres, as the Padres aren't competing for a playoff spot, but the Dodgers are still competing with the San Francisco Giants for the best record in baseball, roughly. As the Dodgers currently sit 2 games behind the San Francisco Giants, and they currently have 5 games left in their season. Max Scherzer enters his matchup with a 15-4 record, holding a 2.28 ERA, as he looks to be one of the favorites for the National League Cy Young. Last but not least, at 10-10, one of the other division matchups that matters, Logan Gilbert and the Seattle Mariners are going to host Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics. Frankie Montas enters his matchup with a 13-9 record, holding a 3.48 ERA for Oakland. The Mariners are the first team on the outside of the American League wildcard picture looking in, so a win here could possibly see their entry into the playoffs. And for the Oakland Athletics, they are still fighting for their playoff lives. They sit 3.5 games behind the Boston Red Sox outside of the playoff picture, as a couple more losses here could result in them being eliminated from playoff contention. That is what the MLB is looking like as we are getting into today's Wednesday matchups. In terms of the NFL will pick up tomorrow and college football picks up on Friday. But taking a look at what's been going on with soccer outside of the country, yesterday was the second Tuesday of Champions League group stage play. And starting with the teams that were in the first group, in Group A, PSG, starting from the very top, it was able to host Man City and was able to pull off the win. The second goal will come from their goated Argentinian forward, Lionel Messi. This was his first goal for PSG, scored in the 74th minute, and then Gay would score in the 8th minute. He was the first goal for them. With this win over Manchester City, PSG are now holding on to the top seat, the top seating in the table on goal differential alone. They are tied with Club Brugge, the Belgian champs, as Club Brugge was able to beat RB Leipzig 2-1 at Leipzig, with their 2 goals coming in the second half after Leipzig's lone goal from Nkunku. Vanaken would tie the game, and then Ritz's 40-minute goal would give Bruges the lead and the win. PSG and Club Brugge now have 4 points at the top of the table. Man City is sitting third in the table through 2 games, as they've won and lost 1. And then RB Leipzig is sitting at the bottom, as they have lost both of their games in Champions League so far this season. Jumping to Group B, Liverpool was able to beat FC Porto 5-1, as 2 of their goals would come from their elite Egyptian forward, Mo Salah. They would get a goal from their other elite winger, Sadio Mane from Senegal. And then they would get 2 goals from their Brazilian striker, Roberto Firmino, as he was subbed in for Salah or Mane. He was subbed in for one of those guys. And he would end up scoring a nice brace for himself after Porto scored their lone goal of the game. With this win, Liverpool now sits on top of Group B, as they've won both of their games, and they have a goal differential of +5. And then looking at the other matchup in this table, Atletico Madrid was able to beat AC Milan 2-1. AC Milan would score the first goal of the game, as Leao would score in the 20th minute. One of their midfielders was able to pick up 2 yellow cards in the span of 30 minutes, so Atletico Madrid would play the next 60 minutes of the game up a man. They would end up tying the game in the 84th minute thanks to a goal from their sub-elite forward from France, Antoine Griezmann. And then they would end up winning the game in the 97th minute with a penalty kick from their elite Uruguayan striker, Luis Suarez. With this win, Atletico Madrid now holds the second seed in Group B, as they've won and drawn one of their matchups. And their draw came against Porto last time. And with this loss, AC Milan is sitting at the bottom of Group B. So just to run it through it again, Liverpool sitting at the top of Group B with 6 points in the table. Atletico Madrid is sitting second in Group B with 4 points in the table with a win yesterday. Porto sits third in the table with 1 point, as they picked up a loss yesterday. And Milan is now sitting at the bottom of the table, as they've lost both of their games in Champions League. Jumping to the Group C matchups, Sitting at the top of the table is Ajax after Ajax of Amsterdam was able to defeat, Ajax was able to beat Besiktas. They were one of the earlier games. Their second goal will come from Sebastian Haller, who now has 5 goals in the Champions League after scoring 4 in the first matchup. With this win, they are now sitting alongside Borussia Dortmund, as both of these teams have won the first 2 games in the group stage. Dortmund is here after beating Sporting CP 1-0. Their only goal came from Malen in the 37th minute. And with this, Ajax and Dortmund sit at the top, but Ajax sits atop of Dortmund as their goal differential is 4 more than Dortmund's. And then Besiktas and Sporting are going to sit at the bottom of the table, as Sporting's goal differential is actually lower than Besiktas. So Sporting is sitting in the bottom. Besiktas from Turkey is sitting in third. Last but not least, taking a look at what's going on in Group D. Sitting at the top of the table is Sheriff Tiraspol, the Moldovan powerhouse, as they were able to beat Real Madrid yesterday by a score of 2-1 after Karim Benzema's equalizing penalty goal in the 65th minute. It will be a goal from Till in the 89th minute, and with this, Tiraspol is right now sitting at the top of their stage. And like I just said again, with this loss, Real Madrid is now sitting second in the table as they've won and lost their game. And then in the other matchup, Inter Milan and Shakhtar Donetsk would end up drawing, as neither team would score. And with this draw, both teams are sitting with 1 point as they have the bottom 2 seeds in Group D of Champions League. So right now, that is what Champions League is looking like for the teams that have already played their second matchup. And then because today is Wednesday, looking forward to the other half of the group stage matchups in Champions League. Starting with Group E, the reigning Bundesliga champs Bayern Munich are going to face off against Dynamo Kiev, the reigning Ukrainian runners-up, or the champs, I forget. But Kiev is coming off of a draw versus Benfica from last week. And then the other match is going to take place between Benfica and Barcelona. Both of these matchups are going to take place at 3 o'clock. Bayern sits on top of the table, as Barcelona, a win here could jump them right back up in. It's only the second matchup out of 6. In Group F, the team that's sitting on top are the Swiss champions, Young Boys, after beating Man United. Young Boys is going to face off against Atalanta in Italy at 12:45. And the other side of that matchup in that table will be a rematch of the Europa League final, as the Europa League champs who made it into here, Villarreal, are going to face off against Manchester United. That game's going to be at 3 o'clock at Old Trafford, so that's going to be a well-anticipated matchup, as Man U is still sitting scoreless at the bottom of the table. Looking at Group G, considering all of the teams drew, this will be a very interesting way to see how this league shakes up. Starting in Austria, FC Salzburg is going to host the defending French champs, FC Lille, or RSC Lille. And then the other match is going to take place in Germany, as Wolfsburg is going to host Sevilla in this League of Death. And then last but not least, the Group H matchup that's going to catch many people's eye is going to be Juventus versus Chelsea, as they both picked up their wins. Chelsea are the defending champs of Champions League. This matchup is going to take place at 3 o'clock. And the other matchup is going to take place between Zenit St. Petersburg from Russia and Malmo, the Swedish champs, is going to be at 12:45, as this matchup will take place in St. Petersburg. And that's roughly everything that's going on today in the world of sports as we navigate through it one day at a time. I want to thank the MLB, the WNBA, and of course the UEFA websites for helping me with all the facts and figures that I needed in order to do this episode. I of course want to apologize to all of the names that I butchered, because like I said, it's so many names. I do plan on getting them right eventually. But I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I will follow this episode up with a GOAT profile for Kevin Durant, the GOATed power forward, or the GOATed small forward for the Brooklyn Nets, turns 33 this year. So, of course, with that said, I want to thank everyone once again, and I'll catch you with another episode after this. Peace out, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow on Thursday, September 30th. Until then, once again, I'll say it for like the 5th time. Peace out.